Guys, I want to talk to you about the glory of God. I want to talk to you about the glory of God right now. The Bible talks about there being several dimensions to God's glory. There are three dimensions really in the scriptures. There is the kabod glory, there is the Shekinah glory, there's the weighty glory of God. The Shekinah glory, the kabod glory, and the doxa glory. These I call three dimensions of God's glory. What is the glory of God? It is the very essence of who God is. It's the weight of God's presence. If you went to heaven right now and died, you would experience the glory of God. So what happens is when we carry a glory or when we experience the glory, God begins to open that heavenly realm. It's like a portal comes into the earth realm that allows heaven to flow into the earth. And so when you're in a service and you're experiencing the Benny Hinn's, the Catherine Kuhlmans, you're experiencing these radical glories that where you will weep and the slain in the spirit, you're experiencing a touch of heaven. But there are dimensions to that. There's dimensions. We've never seen the fullness of it. I believe the higher dimensions of the glory came in revival seasons. That's what happened in times of revival and refreshing outpourings of the spirit as we saw an increase of the glory. When we saw at Brownsville, when we saw at other nations, Argentina, Brazil, what we saw in America in the Azusa Street revival. These were Welsh revival. These were portals that opened where maybe 40%, 30% of God's glory up there came into the earth realm. And there are people that walk with God and carry a dimension of the glory of God. And so the glory of God is needed because in the glory is the same thing that's in heaven. In heaven, there is no sickness, there is no disease, there's no poverty, there's no lack, there is no nothing lacking in the glory. So when the glory comes and increases, then sickness begins to leave and there begins to be no sickness, there begins to be no poverty. Then all of a sudden poverty leaves your life. Then all of a sudden all the issues of your life leave. Certain issues begin to leave in that glory because they can't stay because heaven invade earth. Jesus told the disciples to pray, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Holy is thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. So the prayer is that God's glory would manifest in our cities, our regions, in our churches. The church has lost the glory of God because there is no fear of the Lord. There will be no fear of God. Without the fear of God, there is no glory. Without a reverence of God, there is no glory. Without worship, there is no deep, intimate worship with the Lord. There is no glory. And so because the church has neglected worship, because we've neglected the fear of the Lord, because we have neglected holiness and purity in these things and tried to go after these things, because of that, there has been an absence of God's glory, an absence of God's tangible presence in our lives and in the life of God's church. When we begin to prioritize the presence of God, when we begin to prioritize prayer, when we begin to prioritize intimacy with the Lord and we begin to prioritize the fear of the Lord and really seeking God's face again, I believe we'll see Brownsville. We will see it in our churches because I believe in these last days, God is raising up houses of glory, churches that carry the glory of God, revival hubs, these churches that carry glory and fire on them. But we must understand that God cannot pour out his glory until his church prepares itself for the glory. And how do we prepare ourselves? Through fasting, through prayer, through intimacy, through seeking the face of God. Moses had seen the demonstration of God's power. And a lot of times we get the power of God mixed up with the glory. But just because you carry the power does not mean you carry the glory. The glory and the power of God are two different things. The glory is God's manifest presence revealed. And it's the weight of God's presence. It's the visible gold dust, all the different tangible heavenly things that begin to manifest into the natural realm. And so I wanted to teach you what the glory of God was. I want you to share this with somebody. If you're interested, you want to know more about God's glory, I want you to share this with somebody. God's glory wants to invade your life. It wants to invade earth, but you have to posture and prepare yourself.